Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. UPI reports that U.S. President Donald Trump arrived in Beijing on Wednesday for a two-day meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. President Trump was accompanied by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and several prominent U.S. business leaders, including Tim Cook, Elon Musk, and NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. Vice President Han Zheng welcomed President Trump upon his arrival. This visit comes after more than a year of significant shifts in U.S. trade policies, including retaliatory tariffs against China. Discussions between the two leaders are expected to focus primarily on trade, but also include artificial intelligence, the Iran war, and Taiwan. The meeting is highly anticipated, as it follows the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling that deemed Trump's previously imposed tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act illegal. Al Jazeera reports Russia has test-launched its new RS-28 Sarmat intercontinental ballistic missile, which President Vladimir Putin hails as the most powerful missile in the world. Putin claims the nuclear-armed Sarmat, dubbed Satan II by the West, has a range exceeding 35,000 kilometers and can penetrate all existing and future missile defense systems. Western analysts, however, estimate its actual range to be closer to 18,000 kilometers. The Sarmat, in development since 2011, is intended to replace aging Soviet-built Voyevoda missiles and is set to enter combat service by year-end. This move is part of Russia's strategy to modernize its nuclear forces and counter perceived threats from systems like the U.S. Golden Dome missile shield. The launch occurs amidst the ongoing Ukraine war, with Putin having recently suggested the conflict is nearing its end. Al Jazeera reports that OpenAI CEO Sam Altman testified in a high-stakes trial in Oakland, California, rejecting Elon Musk's claims that he betrayed the AI company's original vision. Musk, the world's wealthiest man, has sued Altman and OpenAI president Greg Brockman, alleging they stole a charity by pivoting to a for-profit model in 2019 after he invested $38 billion for a humanitarian goal. Altman, however, countered that Musk was aware of the plans to develop OpenAI into a for-profit enterprise and even initially demanded 90% of the company's equity. He described Musk as a competitor obsessed with control, who had demotivated key researchers. The trial's outcome is critical, as it could redefine OpenAI's leadership and future, particularly as the company prepares for a potential $1 trillion initial public offering. Public sentiment in the U.S. remains cautious about AI, with a recent Pew Research Center poll indicating a majority believe it will worsen creative thinking and relationships, and only 10% are excited about its increased daily use. CBS News reports that plans for a Trump International Hotel and Tower in Australia's Gold Coast have been scrapped. David Young, CEO of Altus Property Group, the developer behind the $1.1 billion project, stated that the ongoing war in Iran has made the Trump brand too toxic to Australians to continue. The Trump Organization, however, disputes this, accusing Young's company of being unable to meet the most basic financial obligation and using world events as a ploy to distract from his own defaults and failures. Gold Coast Mayor Tom Tate, who had met with Eric Trump prior to the announcement, suggested that neither side was satisfied with their profit margins. Australia's ABC network also reported that Young had twice declared bankruptcy. A petition against the development, citing discomfort with the Trump brand and what it represents, had garnered over 140,000 signatures. Meanwhile, Eric Trump posted an AI-generated image of a new Trump Tower planned for Tbilisi, Georgia. A British cruise ship, the Ambition, operated by a UK company, arrived in Bordeaux, France on Tuesday evening, May 12, and is currently under a disembarkation ban by French authorities. The measure was enacted following a suspected outbreak of gastrointestinal illness on board, which led to the death of an elderly passenger during the voyage. Dozens of the 1,233 passengers and 514 Indian crew members, totaling approximately 1,900 individuals, have reported symptoms of stomach discomfort. French officials have, however, explicitly stated that there is no reason to link this outbreak to a recent hantavirus scare on another vessel. A medical team has been dispatched to the ship to assess the health situation, and samples are being tested by the Bordeaux University Hospital's Infectious Disease Department. The ship had departed from the UK on May 6 and was originally scheduled to continue its journey to Spain from Bordeaux, according to Linha Zappa. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.